Hello everyone, in this video I'll show you how to create this animation and this chip like in JP Morgan animation with transition between two different textures while we're animating the chip movement. Let's go.
The visual vibe.
All of these materials together with final animation you can find on my Patreon and on the first wall. And additionally, I want to say thank you to all of the guys who support me on Patreon and here on YouTube. Thank you guys. Okay, so we will start from the Figma. I have prepared here two different textures, the circle before and circle after. Basically, it's just a set of the circles. Let's recreate it from the scratch. So I'm hitting O to select here the ellipse tool, creating the first ellipse, removing the fill and adding the stroke instead. Stroke will be with a white color like this. The first one would be like a 12, maybe 12 is a little bit too much, maybe 10 and a little bit bigger. Don't forget to hold a shift if you want to scale it proportionally like this. Then we'll hit Control D to duplicate it and squeeze it to smaller size like this. And additionally, I will decrease the width for the stroke. So it will be somewhere in the middle right here. And we have three of them. So again, duplicating, make it smaller, duplicate, and make it smaller one more time. Be sure that you have a similar gap between rings. So this is the first part, and here as you can see we have a set of small border width circles. So I'm going to select this one, duplicate it, and here I will select 0.5 for the width, and for the stroke color I will make it 50% opacity like this. And then I will simply duplicate it and make it smaller, but with small gap like this. So at the end on the texture it will look like something similar like a vinyl, I would say, on the texture. And let's make it a few more. So I'm going to select again just these guys, again Control D, make it smaller, and one more time Control D and make it smaller. So we have this. Then let's simply select all of them, hit Control G. Now we have a new group, and then let's convert to frame, and we can call it circle before. Right, and then to create the second one we simply need to duplicate it. I will remove a few in the middle, I will leave just one. I will make it bigger, and also the border would be a little bit more bold like this. Then we need to select all of these guys here and decrease radius, so they will be closer to the one in the middle. There we go. And we can rename it to circle after. That means that the first one before transition between different textures, and second one is after transition like this. Now I need to select both of them. Here for the export I'm going to make it like 4 times bigger, or you can simply increase the scale here in Figma just by hitting K, and here you can select the number of times you want to increase the scale, let's say 4, and they will be 4 times bigger. So now you can export them as they is. I already exported two of these textures, and here I also have the references of how it works. So here you can see it's before, Then we have the transition shape, and then we have after. So now let's go back to Blender. So this is our Blender file. I'm going to add here a cylinder. Let's rotate it for 90 degrees by x-axis. Then I'm going to squeeze it. So I'm going to the depth mode, to the edit mode, and scale it by y-axis. So this would be our chip. Now I'm going to select the faces, the front and the back. I'm going to hit here individual origins, hit E to extrude, and then S, so we can scale it down. So now we have this extra mesh, and now I'm going to again change it to the median point, hit E, S, and then Y. So now we can move it inside. So we'll have kind of shape like this, so you can see. So this is our initial form for the chip. Let's add here a bevel. Increase segments up to 5, decrease scale. Something like this, and then additionally I will add subdivision surface with 2 levels. I think so far would be enough. Now let's go to the very interesting part, which is materials. For the materials I will actually do 2 parts. The first part is to apply materials to the middle point and then to the second point. There will be 2 different materials, so I'm going to add here a new. I will call it glass inside and hit assign. That means if I go to the material preview, that here we have assigned this glass inside material. So I will change the color so it will be visible. It's assigned to everything else too, because we did not actually say which color or which material will be for the rest of the object. So I'm going to the select, invert. So now we're selecting everything else. I'm going to add 1 more material, hit new, and I will call it wood glass outside and hit assign. So now it will be white by default, as we have principal BSDF by default here. I will change it to kinda goldish, so we will simply can see how it's different from the main, which is basically would be our glass material. And let's make it less rough. So basic gold color metal material. Let's go back to the glass, and here would be interesting. So I will remove principal BSDF and I will add here, we will start from the glass BSDF and connect it to the surface. So now we have here simple glass, but this is not what we want to. We want to create beautiful distortion, beautiful refractions, and extra colors after the IOR working with this glass, right? So what I need to do here, I want to add the mix shader, and I will add to this mix shader refraction BSDF. And I will add not just 1 but 3 of them. So this is sorry, not to the factor but the shader, and this one would be, here we have a switcher from HCV, which is hue saturation values, to RGB, which is red, green, blue, and alpha. So for this one I will remove the red and green, it will be just simple blue. Then for this one I will change let's say green one only, and the last one would be just red, like this. Now we need to combine them into the one. So I'm going to add here add shader and connect 2 of them. Then I will duplicate add shader, move it in front, and connect shader to shader. Now we have, let's switch to cycles and to the rendered version. Additionally, I will increase for the light power and radius so we can see more, or maybe I can just simply go to the sun. Let's make it like 5 with wide angle so we can see actually what's going on here. Okay, looks good. Now I want to manipulate with the roughness from one simple value, so I'm going to add here a value and connect to all of the roughness of these refractions. Let's say it will be like 0.25. For this one also 0.25, maybe we can even connect them all together to one value, so because this is one glass, and as you can see I'm changing the value and it changes how this glass works. For our purposes I think like 0.35, yeah, 0.35 would be enough. And for the refraction, we have here the same level of IOR, so I'm going to switch here in the middle to 0.5 and the last one to 0.55. That means that everything else behind the object would be a little bit not distort, but with the extra colors. So let me move it by y-axis right behind it, and as you can see we have a little bit more refraction, but it's not working yet how we need to, because we need to add something to factor, and to factor we will add a light path, this one, and we will select transmission dips and connect it to factor. Now as you can see we have more color on the edges, so if I here decrease the value you can see red, we can see blue, and somewhere even green colors. This is actually what we want to achieve, because then when we add more light it will be more interesting. Now we have the glass and it's transparent, but if you remember, I'm going back to Figma, this material actually have more, right? So they have like color or something like this, right? So what I want to do here, I want to actually change the, going back to Blender, refraction and IR for the main glass. It will be something like 0.75, so it will be more distortion for this one. And probably so far that's it for the glass itself. And let's move then to the texture. So this is the first one and this is material output. Now let's add a principal BSDF, and this principal BSDF will be our main texture. So I'm going to add here an image texture and connect it the principal BSDF. No, I will not connect the image texture, but I will open and add our first texture which we just created. So I selected one of the PNGs which we previously created, and we will use this PNG just as a mask. We don't need to connect it somehow to principal BSDF. So I'm going to add here a mix shader, and I will connect alpha of this texture to the factor. And by default, as you can see, we have this. So just to align how it looks like, I will connect color to the base color so we can actually see how it looks like. Now I will select it and go into the edit mode, select everything with A, and here I'm going to the UV editor. So we can see our texture, we can see all of the edges. So I'm going to select these edges, we don't need them, so I'm going to move them back. We have these two circles. I will scale them 2 times probably. I will align them. Let's align them by the middle point. Like this. Select both of them and move them right in the middle. So let's take a look and maybe increase a little bit scale. Like this. And as you can see, it also appears in the model itself from both sides, front and back. But it's so far is just black color. Let's go back to the shader editor. We can remove it from the base color, and that means that now we have just the mask, and we do not have principal BSDF connected to the mix shader. So I'm going to connect it to the mix shader, and now it appears to be white as we have it in principal BSDF, or whatever color we want to add here. So I'm going to add here a color ramp. I'm going to connect to the base color, and for this color ramp I will also add the gradient texture connected to the factor. And now we need to add two colors, which will be actually the glowing parts of this new material which we're creating for the chip. So for the first one it will be some kind of light blue, and for the second one it will be light basically yellow, something like this. The gradient texture, I want to actually have some kind of object which I can move to animate the gradient, right? So I'm going to add here, hit here Ctrl T to add texture coordinate and mapping with Node Wrangler, and I will change from generated to object. Now let's add here like, I don't know, maybe small sphere, and I will move it a little bit somewhere here. Go and back, select this one and select this empty as an object. I think, yeah, it's fine. Just let's switch from the linear to spherical. That means now that where I move this sphere, it will actually be moved like this. Maybe just let's increase the scale. So we have a scale for this spherical gradient. I'm going to make it something like 0.5. Yeah, would be definitely enough. Like this. And now I want to increase maybe a little bit the saturation value, so it will be more vibrant, I would say, and connects it between color ramp and principal BSDF. Let's increase it up to 2. And then additionally, I would probably connect the same hue saturation value to emission right here. And emission I will change up to 15. So as you can see, it will affect not only the model, but also the glass. And by the way, let's for the glass maybe a little bit increase the value for 0.4. Yeah, I think it's better. So now we have glowing inside, and additionally we have extra object. So this is what we have for the second part, and this is just one setting for the first part of the texture. Now we need to add second part of the texture, so that means that all of this I can simply connect, select, and here we have join in a new frame. This would be the one frame. Then I'm going to add here new mix shader. I'm going to duplicate all of this, Shift D, move it to the top. This would be our second material. And I'm going to select here shader to shader. So far it's the same, but as soon as I'll change the PNG from before to after, I just change it, you can see that now we have two textures mixed in one object. Now we need to add something to actually navigate between two textures, and in my case it will be a gradient texture. I'm going to connect it to the factor, and additionally I will add a color ramp so I can see actually where is the line between two objects. Let's move it somewhere here. For the gradient texture I will hit again Ctrl T, and again I will switch from the generated to object. Then again I will add an object. In my case it will be, let's say, a plane. It's right in the middle. Let's switch to the material version. There we go. And if I here select the empty 0.1, which is actually I just added, and let's maybe name this one as gradient control, then this one would be line control. Okay, so we have these two and gradient. Now we need to add the line actually between two of them, so I will move it right in the middle, right here. So we have 5.4, that means that in this case we will have 4.96. So we have a line. The line is a little bit moved to the right, so I'm going to the location by X and simply move it back. So it will be right in the middle. Right here. So now by moving the line control, we can actually move where is the line and where we're switching between two different textures. Now we just need to add extra material which will be visible while we switching between these two textures, like emission material. So for this we need to add one more mixed shader in front of everything, and we will add one more gradient texture to actually work with it. Right, so I'm going to duplicate all of this. I'm going to add here an emission, connect emission to the shader, and for the gradient I will apply it here for the factor. So as you can see now the half is actually not visible. It's basically this emission. I'm going to increase it up to 20, so it will be like really bright. And now I will simply add here one more color. It will be gray, so we will have white right in the middle. It will be 0.5. Then we have a black, it will be 0.9, and then we have this gray, and I will change gray to black, and this black will be moved to 0.04. So we have the line which is bright right in the middle. Maybe let's increase it a little bit. So here we have 0.9, 51, like this. So we have line right in the middle. And if I turn on the rendered version, you can see how it's visible here. So this is how we get in these beautiful switch between two textures with this line. And additionally we have control of gradient for both textures. Let's check if the same was applied for the second color. Here we have gradient, yes, and for the bottom one we also have a gradient. So let's check. I will move this one in the middle, and this one, yes, you can see it's changed the color from blue to yellow. So this is the first part. Let's then apply similar settings, or kind of similar to the gold. So for the gold we will have also additional color. So let's first apply the gold itself. Let's set up. I'm going to add here a wave texture and connect the waves to the normal, and between them I will add a bump texture, bump node with a height. For the waves I will add a Ctrl-T, the not regular texture coordinate and mapping, and I will also, so we have here a scale. I will change the direction, so we'll have rotation for 90 degrees probably. So here you can see the lines for the waves. Maybe it should be by z-axis, not by y-axis. Let's actually try. Yeah, it should be like this, and then let's decrease the scale so we actually see more waves like this. There we go. Nice. And if you want to make them even more visible, you can also add here displacement and connect the wave texture to the height, and then additionally displacement to displacement. So as you can see, they will be more visible. Now let's add something similar as we've done with emission to this material. So in this case we will have simply one mixed shader, and then I will add here emission connected to the second shader. Then let's go back to the glass inside, and we'll simply copy this part with these two guys. So I'm going to Control C, going back to wood glass, Control V. We have this color ramp, and I will connect it to the factor. So as you can see, it's right in the same place with the same width, and we just need to increase emission up to 20 as it was for the main. That means that now we have the same for the second material, and they will be controlled by the same empty. So let's move the empty right in the middle as it was. This is the gradient. And this is actually it. This is how we can create this material together with this chip. Now let's create the wooden deck. It's not basically a deck, something more like, I don't know, pipe. So I'm going to the random. And by the way, to align all of this and move all of this together, I will create here one more empty. I will select arrows. This is the top, this is the bottom, yeah, this is the Z-axis, and this would be the main object, right? So we will select all of this. We will have here a gradient, we will have here line control, the cylinder, and the last one, this empty, which is arrows, right? This would be our main control. I'm going to the object, parent, object. Now if I move it, they will be moved all together. maybe it's not a good, because then we will have to move it. So I'm going to back again, Control Z, sorry guys, and I will leave the line control in the middle. I will select gradient, cylinder, and empty. So the empty again would be the first one. Parent object. That means that if I move now the this empty, and I will call it main object. If I move it, you can see that it's go through this line right here. Okay, so now let's add, as I said, the wood part. I'm going to move it down so it will have visible will be. I'm going to the cube. Let's move it down. And now let's create the shape. So I'm going to the edit mode here. Let's go to the wireframe. I will add here one cut, move it to the top. This could be moved also to the top somewhere here. Let's increase scale by Y a little bit. And for the bottom part, I will squeeze it here. So we have this view, and here I will hit S and Y. So we will squeeze it by Y axis only. Right here, and move it by Z axis. Again, SY. Now here two cuts, and one of them could be moved, or basically we can select two of them and scale it down by Z axis. Now we will select the faces, and I will select these two, hit E, S, and Y. So we can make it like lines above the surface, like this. So now we have this shape. Let's add a curve. So I'm going to Shift A, curve, path. I will increase the scale of the path, and let's maybe a little bit adjust it. So I'm going to select these two. Hit G and Z by Z axis, hit ES, increase scale by X axis, and G, Z by Z axis. Maybe a little bit smaller like this. So we have a curve. Let's apply scale for this curve. And let's move it a little bit by Z axis to the bottom right here. Now we have this material. I don't know yet, it would be a wood. So I'm going back to the wireframe. I'm selecting the top part. Okay, go into the blender kit, and I'm going to find here a wood material. So there's the materials. I'm going to find here a wood. Let's hit here. Okay, procedural both. I'm going to select the first one as this one. So we have brown polished wood. Going to hit one more. This would be a gold again. And then I will hit here one more time. We will have the second wood, and in this case it would be something like this one. So we have three different materials. Now let's apply them to the model. Go into the view from the side. I'm going to the edit mode, selecting the top part, and it will be brown polished oak wood, and hit here assign. Then I'm going to select the small part which a little bit stand out of the surface and apply a gold color. And then for the very bottom I will apply the last wood 002. Let's take a look what we have. So we have two woods, and then we have the gold, which is not actually gold so far, and I'm going to change it, decrease the roughness, increase metalness. So it will actually look like a gold. By the way, let's also apply the same gold for these edges. And gold and assign. Now let's go and here add the bevel, more segments, less amount, and also a subdivision surface. right here, apply scale, apply shade auto smooth, and now let's increase actually the width. So I'm going to select everything, hit S, X and 8, so it will be more wider. Apply scale, and again in edit mode hit Ctrl R and add as many cuts as you want, so it will be more flexible, I would say. There we go. Now let's add one more modifier, which is a curve modifier, and I'm going to select the curve. Okay, let's check. Okay, let's maybe squeeze it a little bit. Do something like this. Now let's again move it a little bit, so we will actually match the surface of our chip. There we go. Maybe a little bit less by x-axis, because we will have the second one actually. So now let's move it by x, so we will have the small gap between this item here, and I will apply scale. So move it in front like this. Let's go to the bevel, decrease again a little bit. And now we need to do the duplication and move it by x-axis. Again, move it by x. So we will have this small gap between these two items. Now I will simply do again Shift D and X, but in this case, here's our model. I'm going to remove all of these items here on the left, maybe even more. Delete. So we have just one, like a section, and I will squeeze it by X. Apply scale, again X. By the way, let's object set origin to geometry. Move it back. And I will do the same line as we have at the very top. Right here. Now I will simply duplicate this material, call it emission, and change to the white. Emission. And emission would be 20. By the way, we go into the materials and removing to this wood, so we will have emission always at the same place. So now if I simply move the chip, you can see this chip is moved, but emission stays in the same place. Now let's select our empty arrows, and I'm going to constraints and select here follow the path. And for the path, I'm going to select our nimbus path. And as you can see, it's got here, and we have here the offset, which we will animate actually. Let's take a look. I'm going to move it along the curve, and now I will move the item itself a little bit to the top by z-axis, so we can actually again match the surface. So now if I here use the offset, you can see it actually shows the animation. Now to avoid moving it along the curve, and as you can see, if I move it, it goes, sorry, main object, right here you see it goes above the item here. You just need to simply hit here follow the curve, and you can see it will go right on the surface of our object. So let's move it back. Right here, it's in the middle. Now let's set up camera. I already have a camera right here, so I'll just simply take a correct angle from which I want to animate the item. Go into the, so I have selected the camera view, align view to active camera. So now let's add one more empty. I'm going to add here empty sphere. I will call it a focus and move it to the same position as we have our item right now, right here. This would be the main focus for the camera. So I'm going to select camera. I'm going to the depth of field and select here focus. Additionally, I'm going to the constraints and hit here track 2 and again select focus. So that means that now our camera will be pointed always in the same position to this empty right here. So if I go into the rendered version, I'm going to isolate everything. You can see how it positioned right in the middle. Let's increase the z-axis so we can actually see more. And I think this is enough. Alright, so let's additionally add the plane as a background. So I'm going to increase the scale to something like this. Let's add the BG color. It will be something yellow kind of color. And let's rotate it by X like this. And move a little bit right here, and for the background I'll apply scale, of course. I also use the constraint, but in this case I'll track 2 and select camera. That means that it will be pointed right into the camera. So if I select camera and take a view, going to select the background, I will simply move it into the center. So now if our camera even will move anyhow, the background will be also moved. So let's start the animation. I'm going to the timeline, go into the 0 frame, and I will animate two things. I will animate the position of our empty XYZ, and additionally I will animate the position of camera. So the camera first position would be somewhere here. Let's maybe move it a little bit by X. Again I, and let's move somewhere at the frame 150 and add one more I right here. So we do have animation of camera. So this is how it looked like. Slightly rotate camera across the empty. Now let's animate the item itself. I'm going to the Y view version. I'm going to the frame 0 and going to the constraints to animate the offset actually. And this would be right in the middle. I'm going to move it a little bit right here. So it will be somewhere at the frame 54, but the beginning would be, and let's split here the screen so we can actually see what's happening from camera view. And here we can see the rest. Okay, and just simply move it. And going back to the 0, and here I will move it to the top so it will be not visible from the camera view, and hit one more time the keyframe. Now this is the first part of animation. Let's a little bit move it back. Then go into the front somewhere here at 84, and I'm moving it to the front so we can see slightly how we change the textures right here. And then at the frame 150 we're moving the object out of the scene, and this is what we have. we get into, showing how it's changed, and going out. Maybe let's increase this range so it will be even more slowly in the middle, like this. Okay, and additionally let's animate the position of this empty, so we will also animate the gradient. So this is the base position. I'm going to hit here I, then we will move it somewhere here, and I will do like round rotation across all of the parts. So this is the next one, then move into the next, move into the next, and at the end also move into somewhere here. So now while we're moving, we also will see how we change the position of the empty. And this is how it actually looks like. Let's maybe a little bit change the for the glass. I will change the value for the roughness of the glass. So far we have connected it to the same value. I'm going to remove it, and instead of this I will add here a color ramp and connect it to the roughness. Then I will switch direction, so we'll have the black at the very end, and this one I will change to the dark gray, something like this color. Maybe a little bit less. Like this. Okay, and then duplicate the same color ramp for the second part right here and connect it to the roughness. So we actually apply it to both of these materials. There we go. And now we just need to actually create something to have more shadows on the background. And there is like two ways. The first way is to change the sun to something different. So in my case, I can rotate it like this and change the sun to, let's say, spot. So it pointed in the same direction, but I will change the angle and increase the power. Increase also exposure, and maybe let's also change the position by Z, so it will be a little bit at the top. Then Shift T, so we can actually show which part we want to highlight. Now let's increase radius, so the shadows will be a little bit more soft, and decrease angle. So we can point it right into the object. Let's increase blend and also increase angle. Now we can add a little bit more saturation to the background. So I'm going to HCV and add saturation. And for the object itself, I will add extra light. So I'm going to add light area, move it right at the top of the object, increase the scale. By default, it's spread 180, so I'm going to increase just power. Maybe let's a little bit decrease the spread. Then additionally, as we have here a gold texture, we could add a few more source of lights. I'm going to here decrease it by Y. We don't need it. And I will duplicate it, rotate. So I want to a little bit highlight the object from the back. Let's move it. Right here, and we can make it a little bit smaller. S by Z and apply scale. We also can decrease the power because we just need the not the flare but the reflection in the glass. We don't need to actually highlight it. And then I will duplicate it from the front part, somewhere here. Let's change here to 90 degrees, same for the previous one, 90 degrees. So we have one source of light which pointed into the object from the top and also highlighting the background. Then we have one filling with light at the top, and then we have just for the reflections, one from the top and one from the bottom. Not, yeah, like this. So you can see it right here on the model itself. The soft light at top, the hard light from back, and here we have also glowing edges from the front. And this is actually it. This is how you can create this type of animation, like it was done for JP Morgan. And as you can see, the model actually changed the texture. We have glowing circles, beautiful material for the glass, which you can set up as you want to. And the wooden texture as a base for the model movement. All of these materials together with final animation you can find on my Patreon and at the first wall. And I want to say thank you for all of the guys who support me on Patreon and here on YouTube. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more useful content. Thank you.
The Visual Vibe.